Hey everybody, it's Gamer Gramps here. Today we are going to be doing our best to explain a rather complex subject. So if you want to find out the specifics on how to get 40% off the production on your districts, then definitely stick around. If you want to get good at Civ 6, subscribe and hit the bell to keep up with this channel. Alright, so we're in the game here. First things first, let's just get this right out of the way. This is not shady, this is not like, this is not an exploit by any means. This has been in the game since vanilla was launched, like way back once upon a time. It's been in the game the entire time. The developers know about it. It's a mechanic that the developers have implemented in the game in order to help you diversify the type of districts that you're going to get throughout the game, and especially to make it easier for you to build other sorts of districts later in the game with your smaller cities. So we are just basically taking the mechanic that's already in the game, that's meant to be there. It's not a glitch or a bug or anything like that, and we're just using it to its fullest capabilities, basically just putting a little bit of extra thought into it and taking advantage in order to get us a nice boost going into the early to mid game, depending on how you do it. So basically I'm going to take this time and I'm going to go over the concept in general with you. We're going to cover the basics of it, and then I have a few different examples that we can quickly go through where I'll show you hands-on exactly how it's applied and what I'm talking about, to be more specific. So without any further ado, let's just get into the nitty-gritty details, shall we? Alright, so district discounts, it's fairly complex, but once you do get the hang of it and put it into practice and try it out a few different times, it does get easier and easier to implement in the game. I'm not even gonna lie, I honestly sometimes pull my calculator up in my second monitor to double check that I have the correct numbers in my head when we're going through it, but other than that, it's fairly easy to implement. It just takes a bit of getting used to, that's all. So the first thing you need to do is count the total number of districts you have completed. Alright, so that's 100% completed, like online, ready to go, earning you some sort of adjacency bonus. And it doesn't matter what kind of district it is. I guess I should say a little asterisk here. I'm talking about actual districts, like aqueducts and dams and other shit like that don't count. It's only like entertainment districts and campuses and holy sites and the core districts of the game. So anyways, you count all of those up that you've actually completed production on. Now you go and you count the total number of districts that you've actually researched. So this is in both the civic tree and the technology tree. You go and you physically count the number of districts that you have the ability to create if you wanted to. Not necessarily the locations for these districts, but just the general ability to actually make them. So once you have those two things figured out, you'll have the number of districts you have completed and the number that you've researched. Then you take the number of completed districts and you divide it by the number of districts that you have the capability of making. And so that's going to give you a number. And then what you're going to do is any districts that are under that threshold are going to be 40% cheaper to build. So this goes all the way to the end game. I mean, you can use this. It's a lot harder to take advantage of this mechanic later in the game unless you're building like obscure districts. Say, for instance, you're building 4 entertainment complexes in order to try and get the Eureka to professional sports way later in the game. Well, then it's pretty easy to implement it in the late game. But other than that, this is basically a strategy just for the early and middle parts of the game to help give you a little bit of a boost. I think it's probably a lot easier for me to just go through this and explain it as we go, and then we'll touch back upon these core fundamentals. But again, the things you need to remember is first, you count the total number of districts you've completed, then count the total numbers that you can complete, and then divide those two numbers, and that's going to give you the number that's really important. So we're going to jump into our first example here, and I'll go ahead and get Christina off the screen there. Alright, so now that we have Christina out of the way, let's get into this example and go through things step by step here. So for any of you that are in a rush and just want to learn about a specific thing, there's going to be 3 different examples. I'll have a comment pinned at the top of the comment section down below where there'll be timestamps, so if you want to jump to a certain example, you can just go straight there and don't have to listen to the whole shebang here. But anywho, alright, so getting into this here, we have one district here in Jdong, so we have a campus, that's 1. We have another campus, that's 2. We have a government plaza, that's 3. We have a campus over here, that's 4. And we have another campus over here. So that's a total of 5 districts. So we have 4 campuses and we have 1 government plaza for 5 districts completed. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at our technology and our civic tree and look for the amount of districts that we've actually unlocked. And so we're going to open this. We have only unlocked 2 in the tech tree. We've unlocked the ability to build a campus, and we've unlocked the ability to build an encampment. We have not unlocked a commercial hub or a holy site here yet, so, or a harbor for that matter. So there's only 2 here in the tech tree, and in the civics tree it is the exact same situation. We've only unlocked 2 here as well. We've unlocked the government plaza, and we've unlocked the theater square right here. And so this is why, like, it takes a little bit of getting used to when you're doing this and you're first implementing this kind of strategy in your games. It takes a bit of practice because sometimes you have to go out of your way to avoid researching a civic or a technology because you don't want to unlock the district that it gives you, which would completely screw up your the discounts that you're aiming to get, basically. So here we are. I've researched. I basically never, for whatever reason in my games, I never get the construction technology fast enough where I boost this, so I researched it down to 1 turn, and then I skipped away from it. So I'm purposely keeping myself here on the lower end of the tech tree, which in a culture game would be fine as it is. And the same thing here in the tech tree. We purposely avoided currency, although I could have boosted that one, and normally I would boost it in a regular game. Again, like I said, these games were just specifically for example details. But anywho, the point of the matter is that we have 4 fucking districts that we have the ability to create, alright? So again, let's quickly bring Christina back here to refresh our memory, right? So, 1, count the districts we've completed, and 2, count the total number of districts we've researched. Alright, so we've done that. We have 5 districts completed, and we have 4 districts researched. So now we take 5, and we divide that by 4, which is going to be 1.25, alright? Alright, so now we know 1.25 is that magic number we're talking about for the discount districts, alright? So you might be thinking now, if you've never heard about this before or never practiced it, 1.25, well, how the fuck is that going to help me, right? Well, it does, because it's going to allow us to actually build 2 discounted districts, because once you complete your first one, or sorry, not complete, once you lay down, that's the other thing, there's no way to exploit this and say, like, start like 5 different discounts and get them all discounted. It doesn't work like that. As soon as you lay the foundation and actually set your district down on the map, that counts against this 1.25 number we're talking about here, right? Alright, so in our situation here, that means we are obviously planning to get theater squares here, because we are planning, hypothetically, this would be a culture game, right? So what we want to do is come down here, and we want to get those discounted districts going, right? So we're going to come here, and now our first discount, our first district, you can see here, is 122 production, right? That doesn't seem like it's discounted. And unfortunately for us, it's actually not discounted. If you come here and you look here, it still costs 122 discounted. So what that means is sometimes, and this is a small problem with it, is like we recently just completed the district in order to make this happen. Sometimes the discount does not get applied until you research your next technology or your next civic after you complete the district that gives you that number in order to do the discount properly. So in our case here, we're going to have to wait for 3 more turns until we unlock machinery or theology. Like if this doesn't work out where they're both 3, it would just be the first one, whether it was the first technology or the first civic, the next one that you research, that would be what counts. So what we are going to do is we're actually going to speed this up, and I'm just going to put it into military tradition here, and then we're going to go ahead and I'll edit over now, and we'll go to the next turn here. So we're on turn 75 at the moment. Alright, so here we go. We have now skipped forward to the next turn here, and you can see we've gotten military tradition. And now, remember, last turn when we were doing these theater districts, when we were looking at the production, it was going to cost 122 production to complete it, right? Well, now if we open this up and we go over and we hover over the theater square, there you go. Look at it. It's down to 78 production from 122 production, which is a pretty significant discount. I mean, obviously, I know the exact amount. It's a 40% discount, but there you go. So that is definitely going to help us out here. Now, one thing that I also try and do when I'm playing and I'm using the discount districts is I also try and use those districts, because you obviously have a very minute number, right? I try to use the districts in my cities that have lower production, so that my capital, for instance, has good well, not, I mean, good is that's a flexible term, right? It has better production most likely than my other cities here. So 16.5 in the capital, 14 in this city, only 12 in that one, and this one here is even less with 8.8. And so what I would do would be, in this particular situation, I would come here and I'm assuming there's a reason I want to build my theater square here. If I had it tagged there's a reason. But anyway, so we're going to come here and we're going to apply the first discounted one here to this city. Well, I'm assuming there's a method to my madness. I definitely don't want to overwrite a forest and a deer tile. Overwriting this wouldn't be such a bad idea, except for I'm assuming that I'm planning on putting a holy site or something over here and then building a wonder right here. Most likely Forbidden City would be my guess. But anyway, we'll go ahead and we'll drop that down. Okay, so now that that's on the ground, that is one theater square, right? So our number that we talked about is 1.25. So now, is 1 under 1.25? Well, yes it is, right? So that means we can actually get a second discount on a second theater square, because having one laid down is still underneath that magic number of 1.25, right? So the dream is, if you can get the number over 2, that means you can actually get 3 discounted districts. But again, the ability to take advantage of this and the actual benefits of doing it really get outweighed in the mid game. Like when you have to really start going out of your way to limit things, it doesn't make sense to really focus on it. So like I said, just use this for the most part in the early to mid game, and then I mean in the late game, if you happen to be able to take advantage of it later on to get, say, entertainment complexes or get a discount on some industrial zones as well, you know, whatever, so be it. But anywho, so what I would do is, like I said, we got the discount there, and then I would just come up here to this one because, or no, this one had the 14 production, right? Yeah, my bad. I'd come down here to this city here that only had 12, and I would place the theater square district down here. Actually, we'll do the +6 and +9 there. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and place that there, and then this city would go ahead and place their theater square here. It's showing up as 78 production, however, it will not be. That's just a visual glitch, because we will not get the discount. You'll see once we place it here, it will actually be 122. So it's still showing up as 78 production. It'll be 122 once we actually place this down. Okay, well, 131, sorry, because I forgot. It was 122 when we before we researched military tradition. But remember, every civic and every technology that you research makes the cost of your districts go up, right? So that's why it's at 131 rather than 122, which was just last turn. But anywho, so there we go. This is one example to show you. So again, I'm going to just jump forward here and we're going to scoot ahead to the next example I have for you. I don't necessarily remember what it is, so we'll find that out together because I saved these a long time ago. If you've learned a lot from my videos, consider supporting the channel by becoming a member. There's 3 different choices that you can choose from, all for different prices. But for as little as $5 a month, you can help to make this channel successful and ensure that we continue to put out videos that you enjoy. All right, so here we go. We're on our second example here. Now, in this case, we went with holy sites in this example, and so again, to refresh our memory, let's take a look at Christina here. And again, we take the total number of districts we've completed and count the total number that we've researched, right? So now in here, we've gone with holy sites. This holy site is under construction, so it doesn't count towards this whatsoever. I mean, it is ready in 3 turns, but still, it doesn't really matter for the purposes of our illustration, because once I show you the number, I'll show you how that wouldn't impact it whatsoever, right? So we have holy site 1 here, 2 here, 3 there. We have a government plaza here, so that's 4 we're up to. and then we also have another holy site there, so that's 5 total. So again, we have 4 holy sites and 1 government plaza for a total of 5 districts altogether. And now if you look at this one right now, as of right now, we only have 3 districts researched, because we have the government plaza researched, we have our theater square researched, and then on the tech side, we only have 1. We have the holy site right now. However, we are researching campus next turn, and that's what we'll actually be applying our discount to. And so now what we do is, again, we take those 2 numbers, so we take 5 and we divide it by 4, because next turn we will have the campus, which will be our 4th district, right? So again, it's the same example as the previous one. That gives us a number of 1.25. And so again, that's what I meant here by is if we waited for 3 turns here, it would do absolutely nothing to help us, because then it would be 6, and 6 divided by 4 is 1.5, which is not over that 2 threshold, which would allow us to build 3 discounted districts. So in this case, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to zoom right now to the next turn when we have our campuses available to us. Alright, so here we go. We're on the next turn here. You can see we've just got our campuses unlocked. So again, now what we're going to do is we're going to look and get our discounts. So what we're going to do is take a look and see the production of our cities. So we'll just go ahead here and take a look at the yields. So Athens has 9, Sparta 9.5, Argos 9.5, Farsalo 7.6, and that city. That city has +7. So those are the 2 that we are going to choose to build our discounts in. I should say, as long as they're of the right population, which unfortunately they are not, and definitely not. So I'm obviously not going to sit and wait around for the next, like, for them to grow that much population, and we'll be stalled out here. We're just going to go ahead and put in the districts now. So alright, so we're going to go ahead here and we're going to plant our campus down in Sparta. You can see for 69 production. So we're going to go ahead and drop that boy down. And then unfortunately, we're actually going to have to wait until next turn, until Athens hit population 4 before we can place the campus district down here. Alright, and here we are. So they're 4 population. Let's go ahead and buy them that tile there. And then we're going to drop our campus for, again, 69 production here. But anyway, so that was example number 2 here. And we'll quickly jump to the 3rd and final example I'll show you of the discounted districts mechanic being put to use. Alright, so here we go. We are in our next example here. So again, let's quickly go through this to bring up Christina again. We're counting the total number of districts we've completed, then we're going to count the number that we've researched, and then we're going to divide those 2 numbers, and then any district underneath this number is going to be 40% cheaper. So back to our example here. This 3rd example, we have gone a more militaristic route. We are playing as Shaka, and so to count our districts, we have 1 encampment, 2 encampment, 3 encampments here, and then we also have a government plaza here. So that's a total of 4 districts this time, 3 encampments and 1 government plaza for 4. So now let's take a look at our civics tree, and in this case we only have state workforce for the 1 in this tree that we've unlocked. So we are just fine there. And then over here in the science, we've unlocked a campus, and we've unlocked the encampment. So that's a total of 3 districts. So this time it's 4 districts, so 3 encampments and 1 government plaza, divided by 3 total districts that we've researched, which ends up being 1.33 to the infinite and whatever. So that's our magic number that we're under. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be placing down discounted campuses. So you can see here, our campus is only 69 production that it's going to cost us to build it. Oh, never mind. This city won't be able to build their nice campus there because it's too small. Alright, so in this case, we're obviously not going to wait for those other ones. What we'll do is just say, go ahead and overwrite that jungle tile. We'll drop ours there for a +3, and then we'll drop this campus here as well for 69 production. It'll be a nice +5 campus over there. And then this city, unfortunately, will have to get a full price campus when it does get to it. But as you can see here, well, it's still showing the discounted amount because it's just a visual glitch. It would be more expensive if we were able to actually place it down. But anywho, that is pretty much that. So what I will do is we'll go ahead and we'll fast forward to the next turn here, and I'll show you that this campus district will be a lot more than 69 production because we've used our discount up on these two cities here. Alright, so here we are on the next turn, and as you can see here, the cost of the campus is actually 122 production without our discount there. So there you go. Hopefully you can understand. Again, it takes a little bit of practice in order to start incorporating this into your playthroughs on a day-to-day basis, but once you do put in that little bit of work to get used to it, it's really not that hard of a concept to get a hold of, especially even if you're only looking to get the discount on one or two different districts. Alright, so that is pretty much that. If you did end up finding this helpful, please do me a favor and share it with somebody you know that you play Civ with and they might get some use out of it, or better yet, in a Facebook group or on Reddit or something where a bunch of people who play Civ are going to find it, because I'm a small channel and I could use all the help I can get. But other than that, I don't know about you at all, and I don't know if you're experienced at the game or a newer player. So if you are a newer player and you would like to find out some more Civ 6 tips and tricks, I'll put a link in the top right hand corner of the screen right now. You can click to. I have a playlist of videos that are basically short videos that have 5 tips that you can take and apply into your game starting today in order to help you win Civ 6 games faster. But with that being said, I'm going to shut up now. So if you haven't already, please do me a favor and leave a like on the video. It does really help. And better yet, comment down below. Tell me whether you think this is horrible. Tell me if you think it's good or not. Did you already know about it? Is it something new to you? Or just call me an asshole. Whatever. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now and I'll just see you in the next video.